Hey guys, Dark Skeleton here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to take down the Eater of Worlds boss. Previously, I showed you that it is a really stupid idea to fight him, A, when you don't have enough HP, and B, when you don't have the right equipment. What we're really looking to use here for taking out the Eater of the Worlds is the Vile Thorn weapon. This is a magical item that will fire a line AoE of these thorns that just sprout out from your hands, and anything that gets caught up in it is going to be taking damage. What makes this so good against the Eater of the Worlds boss is that the Eater of Worlds has different segments, and each of these segments are able to be hit at least once by the Vile Thorn's thorns. So you can deal a lot of actual damage with that Vile Thorn, despite it having a low base damage, just because of the sheer number of times that you'll be able to hit with it. In addition, the more segments you take out and the quicker you take them out, the more hearts are going to be dropping on the ground, the more mana restoring stars are going to be dropping on the ground, which means you'll be able to kill him quickly, you'll be able to keep yourself refreshed throughout the fight, and it'll be a lot easier than if you had to spend a long time on this fight with a regular weapon, such as a musket. Now you'll notice right now that I'm choosing a spot to fight him where the ground is actually horizontal. In these corruption areas, there's almost always going to be this evenly leveled zone where you can actually use to fight the Eater of Worlds. You don't want to fight him in the pit because that's just a death sentence. You need to have as much maneuverability as possible. So here's the Eater of Worlds. You see he's bloody huge. He can move through the walls just fine. Pretty much all bosses can move straight through the walls. Right there where you saw all those numbers pop up, that was actually me using the Vile Thorn. The problem I'm having is that I don't actually have a ton of mana, so I have to wait for my mana to recharge in order to keep using the Vile Thorn. If you can get up to 60 mana or 80, then you should be just fine for this fight, but I'm making do with my 40 mana. Whenever you are out of mana and you're fighting him with the Vile Thorn, I would say to go ahead, use a ranged weapon. A musket isn't too bad because it has a high damage. Or you could use the Ball of Hurt, which also can get AoE damage out on the boss, just nowhere near to the same effect as the Vile Thorn. Now something pretty important for this fight is that if you attack the head always has only 65 HP, so you're able to take many pieces of his body out much easier by attacking the head than if you had gone for the different segments individually. In fact, whenever you split the worm's body in two, all that's going to happen is you ending up fighting two smaller bosses. As you see, I've done a lot of damage to the middle segments, which isn't exactly ideal, and now I have a bunch of these worms flying all over the place. It makes it a lot harder to hit them because they become much more maneuverable as long as they are split into these smaller segments. Kind of like in the classic video game Snake. Their maneuverability slows down in the same way when they're in the longer body length. Another thing I might add about the boss is if you're actually able to set up some platforms or get the boss into an area where you have greater vision over everything, that can make fighting him a little bit easier. It's not critical, I didn't do it here, but you can see how since the boss is moving through the spots I don't even have vision of, it's a little bit harder to tell where they're coming from. The obvious indication, just like other worms in the game, is to listen for where they're coming from. In fact, with weapons like the Vile Thorn, you can preemptively attack knowing where they're going to be coming from, and just throw down a Vile Thorn wave right beneath your feet so that as they come up from the surface, they all die. If you can make it happen, I do recommend that you try to focus on attacking the head rather than splitting them up into all these little tiny segments. Just because the boss becomes a lot easier when you can just target the slow-moving head of the original one, kill all the segments as head pieces where they only take a little bit of damage to kill each time. And then as an added benefit, when you do kill the head piece, the boss does stall for a second, which allows you to just chain head kill after head kill together and really make the boss a cinch. 90% of the difficulty of this fight does come down to whether or not you have an AoE weapon like the Ball of Hurt or Vile Thorn, and secondly, where you're trying to fight him from. Positioning really matters in this fight. You can't be caught in that hole you see right down there below. That is an absolute death sentence. Try to fight them from a evenly layered or platformed field. The boss doesn't do that much damage per hit, but you will get hit pretty frequently, so you're either going to want to be able to take down the pieces really fast so you can generate these hearts that will heal you up, have a regeneration potion, or you can try to make the boss's damage minimal by having a lot of defense up items and armor. If you didn't already know already, when you pick up an accessory, it can have a random bonus effect on it, and those effects can be defense up to +4. So technically you can stack 20 defense from all of your accessories. And that's really all there is to the Eater of Worlds fight. Next time we're going to go take down the Brain of Cthulhu on a different world, since Crimson does not spawn alongside Corruption. I've been Dark Skeleton, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.